Yep.
All right. So today we're going to talk about mental illness and the stigmas behind mental illness. Does anybody here know what a stigma is?
I don't.
No? Anybody want to take a guess?
A disorder.
A disorder? Okay.
I kind of agree with that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, how about some negative comments that you've heard about other people of age, race, gender, sexuality, anything?
Stereotype.
Stereotype, yep, that's a good one. Any examples you can give me?
Boys like sports.
Boys like sports, all right, that's a good one. How about girls don't like to be physically active?
True.
That's true.
And those are all types of stigmas. So a stigma is a cluster of negative attitudes, beliefs, whatever that a group of people have towards a certain group of people. So you could say old people are slow, or you could say people with mental illness are stupid, or people with mental illness want to hurt somebody or are out to get people. But that's not necessarily the case, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So have you heard any negative comments about people with mental illness? Think about one of the most common, not most common mental illnesses, but
Faking it.
faking it, okay. What about people who have schizophrenia?
You're crazy.
Yep, people with mental illness get called crazy, they're called psychotic.
Oh, weird.
Weird, we need to watch those terms around them because sometimes that's offensive. Like, people don't understand that people with mental illness are the same as them. And we are going to work today to defy some of those stigmas. So I'm going to pass out a survey for you guys. If you have a pen or pencil, take a minute at most. Just write down whether you agree, disagree, or if you're not sure. And just put your pencils down when you're done so I know that we can get started with the next activity. You ready? All right, so go ahead and stand up. And if you look on the floor, it's the very same answers that are in your survey. So in the back, I have agree. In the middle, I have disagree. And up front, I'm not sure. What I want you guys to do whenever I read it out loud is stand by or on the piece of paper that has your answer. So statement one, people with mental illness are usually dangerous and violent. Disagree. That's what I had to. And actually, a person with a mental illness is more likely to be a victim of violence. And I know we hear in the media all the time, there was a shooting here, a shooting there, the person had schizophrenia, whatever. Sometimes it's the case, but that doesn't make it true for all people with mental illness, and we need to keep that in mind. Statement two, mental illness can only happen to certain types of people. All right, that's what I put too. It can happen to anyone. Doesn't matter your race, gender, age, whatever. Anybody can develop a mental illness at some point in their life. Statement number three, you can tell someone has a mental illness just by looking at them. All right, that's what I put too. Because usually you can't tell whether someone has a mental illness based on appearance. Sometimes you can tell based on the way that they feel or act or behave, but I can't look at Abby and say, she definitely has depression just by looking at her. Statement 4, people who are quiet and shy most likely have a mental illness. Disagree? Yep, because there's not a strong correlation between personality characteristics and mental illness. Sometimes you're just shy and quiet because that's just who you are and you're not an outgoing person. It doesn't mean you have a mental illness. Statement number 5, the stigmas behind mental illness deter people from getting help.
I'm not walking back this time.
We got 1 agree and 1 disagree. Mihaela, do you want to explain why you agree?
Because I guess when people get made fun of and such, they might be so. What am I thinking of? They might be so. I guess I mean they might feel ashamed of themselves for being that way, that they might not want to talk to anyone because then they think that they might be annoying or weird to that other person, and then that keeps them cluttered, which then can lead to even worse things.
Definitely, good point. Abby, why do you disagree?
Stereotypes behind mental illness deter people from getting help. I said, like, I'm not really sure what. I'm gonna be honest.
That's okay. You don't have to be sure. It's your opinion. But there's actually a statistic that 60% of people with a mental illness don't seek out the help that they need because of stigmas behind having a mental illness.
Yeah.
And the last one, once you have a mental illness, you have it for the rest of your life. Agree or disagree?
I don't know.
Or not sure? Most of them are lifelong. Once you have one, you typically have it for the rest of your life, but that doesn't mean that you can lead a happy, healthy lifestyle. All right, you guys can have a seat now.
Wow.
Okay. Couple things to end our activity. We're gonna go through some discussion questions super quick, and then we're gonna go through reducing stigmas. So, how do you think stigma affects the lives of people with mental illness? I know Mihailo gave his answer about saying they might not get help because they feel ashamed or embarrassed.
They feel different.
They feel different, exactly. And what do you think influences perceptions about mental illness? Such as movies, TV, anything you've seen on TV, read in books. That can influence people's stigmas. They could be like, oh, I saw this on the news.
Maybe even, I guess, rumors from people. People
Rumors.
Yeah, people think something
Right,
else,
yeah.
but they're completely wrong.
Especially in high school.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. And why do you think people with mental illness are stigmatized?
Different.
Because they're seen as
They're
different.
the odd ones out.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. They're seen as different, but they're no different than us. So, a fun way that I came up with to reduce stigmas is the acronym WALLS, W-A-L-L-S. So watch your language. And I know we said earlier, avoid using terms like unstable, crazy, psychotic. A is ask questions. Go out in your community, ask teachers, doctors, parents, friends. Just ask questions to get to understand the concept of mental illness better. L is learn more. Use a book, an ancient book, the internet, whatever, a reliable source to learn more about mental illness. And we'll actually be going over that next class. Listen to experiences. If you know someone who has a mental illness and you feel comfortable enough asking them, ask them questions. Most people aren't afraid to talk about it. They want people to know. They want people to understand what they're feeling. And finally, speak out. So whenever you hear someone stereotype or stigmatize, speak out, correct them. Don't be afraid. It starts with one person, and you guys can change that. So next class, we're gonna focus on the L of WALLS, and we're gonna learn more about the different types of mental illnesses. And that's all I have for you guys, so I'll see you next class.